Welcome to the Love Local Chicagoland Podcast. Here we invite people and nonprofits from our local communities to share their stories and their voices. Through amplifying their message, we share their genuine human experiences that connect us all. Our goal is to make our communities more than just a place to live, but instead a place to thrive. Tune in to hear what makes our community so special right here on the Love Local Chicagoland Podcast. Welcome back to another Love Local Chicagoland podcast. My name is Jason Stollard, the founder of Love Local Media and the host here on the Love Local Chicagoland podcast. Today, my friends, we're going to talk to Natalie Rodriguez. She's the executive director with Hopeful Beginnings. Hopeful Beginnings is based out of Palatine, but help families all around the area become their best selves and to be able to grow and help make sure that the kids that are within our community are taken care of. My friends, Hopeful Beginnings, and to talk about an adoption is going to hit a place for me. Kind of hits close to home. My family was built through adoption, and now looking back into it 7 years later, I wouldn't have done it any other way. My friends, I'm going to introduce you to Miss Natalie Rodriguez.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. I'm really hoping to share some of the work we do at Hopeful Beginnings and just make sure the community knows we're here to support.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this conversation because people don't know what they don't know. And to me, when you're talking about what you all do, is you help families in many different ways, whether it's through adoption or whether it's helping moms through postpartum depression and other things that we'll talk about. But building your family through adoption, sometimes you don't know that you got to be able to do that. And there's a lot of different things that come into play with that. So to know more about that information and to talk about that, but also to bring light to maybe those moms that are out there that maybe need to find a home or need support in making the right decisions for their kids. I look forward to those that conversation and bringing those messages to life.
Yeah, I mean, Hopeful Beginnings, it's an old agency. It was founded 1887. And my God, like the world looks so different back then. I can't even imagine, but it's so exciting to be at an agency that really puts moms and dads and families at its core, because families are what you make them, and they're formed so differently these days. Like you can have a family built through adoption, you can have extended families, you can have single parents. And what we're seeking to do is, give parents the tools they need to do right by their kids, whether it's if they need emotional support, they need help with the adoption process, or they just need help with the stuff that those babies need. My youngest is 5, and I still find, baby socks and things we have stashed away, because those first couple years of parenting are pretty intense.
Yeah, they definitely are. And even after, they're pretty intense sometimes too. But if you make it through the first couple, you're going to make it.
That's what they promise, right?
Yeah. So Hopeful Beginnings has been in the community for over 100 years now, which is kind of crazy to say. I don't know if I know any other business that has been around since the 1800s. So talk a little bit about, like you talked about tools and specific tools. Talk about what those tools are and how Hopeful Beginnings helps people in the community that are looking to support their family or build their family.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can start with our counseling program. So what we have at Hopeful Beginnings is pretty unique because it's free. And by free, I mean no insurance required. We don't collect copays. Support for moms and dads who are experiencing postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, who might have lost a baby at any stage during that pregnancy, whether it be a miscarriage, whether it be a stillbirth, but also that group of parents who just need support. We're able to come alongside those moms, those dads, and to say, you don't feel like yourself. How can we get you back there? How can, we get you to that place where you feel confident in making decisions for your child? And, sometimes it's simple. It's as simple as, how do I check my anger while my toddler is throwing things at me? Because I've been there, and it's a really hard place to be.
It's a real feeling too.
It is a real feeling. And so we have great social workers, we work with clients for about a year, and they might be working on, what are my triggers from my childhood? How can I learn to breathe through, anger? How can I learn to, just be present in the moment without, anxiety taking over of those what ifs. It's whatever that person needs in that moment. And it's so individualized to their journey, right? Because we've all been through different things in our lives, but we all want the best for our kids.
Yeah, definitely. We want what's best for our kids, and life is hard sometimes, and the world's changing. So parents, like, to have that resource or to place to go to, I would think is so important and needed within our society. Who do you with this? How do people get a hold of you if they want counseling? They want that type of thing. What does that process look like?
Yeah. So with counseling, it's really great because there's so many different avenues that people can come to us. But the easiest way, you just call our office. The number is 847-870-8181, and just request, to talk to a social worker, or just say you're interested in counseling, and we'll kind of take the process from there. And the great thing about, working in 2023, almost 24, is that there's so many different ways people can access help. So we do have our office in Palatine, but we do a lot of telehealth now too, because we know families are busy, work schedules look different. And like I said, we just want to be that individual fit to support people.
Yeah, I love that. And you're meeting people where they're at. That's what I hear you saying. I think that especially through telehealth, like, you don't have an excuse now. Like, if you're struggling as a parent, to be able to make that call and just to work through it, to go and share your story, I think can help people. And eventually, like, you're going to help that kid, right? You're going to help your kid at home. So to make that call, I would think it's probably hard, right?
It is hard because there's a lot of stigma, right? Still in the community. We work with a lot of clients who are, thinking, oh my God, I can't say I'm struggling with depression because they might report me to DCFS. They might think I'm a bad mom, when really it's the opposite. If you're coming and you're seeking help to be a better parent, that's everything. And that's only in your favor. We would never report a client for that. That's just showing you're acknowledging you need some support. You need some tools to be the best parent you can be for your kid.
Yeah, definitely. So counseling service they can get and through Hopeful Beginnings. What other types of services are available with Hopeful Beginnings?
Yeah, we also do adoption services. We are a DCFS licensed adoption agency, and we focused on domestic infant adoption. So what that means is we work with both pregnant people and families or mothers who need to place baby for some reason. They just are not in the place to parent. But we also work with families who are seeking to grow their family through adoption. And those are all local families within Illinois.
Okay. With adoption, I know I've heard, why do people give their kids up for adoption that you see? And then the next question would be like, who's looking to be able to adopt?
Yeah, it's like such a fascinating process, right? We don't talk a lot about it in society. So look, now we like to say they place for adoption, right? Because usually what happens is a lot of our clients, they might find out that they are pregnant later in their pregnancy. So they're really looking at, are they going to be able to parent, or do they need to place for adoption? And a lot of times, women just make that really selfless choice to say, I love my baby, but I might be in an abusive relationship. I might be struggling with substances, or I might not have a place to live. And I want to choose a better life for my child. And we come alongside them and support them in doing that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And we really try to focus on open adoption. So that's something, it's so different than it was when we founded back in the 1800s, because I don't know, I always call it like the Disney version of adoption, where, the 18-year-old is rifling through papers and, oh my God, surprise, I'm adoption. We try to make sure that doesn't happen anymore, because it's really hard on kids in their identity to all of a sudden realize that they're adopted, and their story is different than when it started. So we work with families who really, realize the best thing for kids is to know their full story, right? And know how much their biological mom loved them, that gave them life, and then chose a family for them.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I kind of seen a couple different sides of the table here. My dad was an orphan, and never was adopted, but going through that process, I learned a lot, just from hearing his stories, but not truly understanding and having a good relationship with his mother, or not having a relationship with his father, even if it was just knowing them, you know. That hurts in life when you're going through things, when you're trying to be able to find your way. And then to now, being an adoptive father of twins, to me, it was important for open adoption to be there for reasons you said, for the reason that I just mentioned, but for parents, it's for the kids at the end of the day, and it's helping the kids understand where they come from, especially as they get into those teenage years and they want to know that they're working through their own self-identity. That open adoption piece is there. I know for Carrie and me, like we're so awkward about it in the beginning, like talking about it. You're like, well, Mama, we would call her Mama Christy. But we started when they were like brand new, just so we got used to talking about it. And now they just know Mama Christy.
That's all they know.
And that's all they know. And that relationship will hopefully be built over time. But open adoption, it truly, you talk about hopeful beginnings is what's best for the kid, and you're helping the surrounding pieces of that. That's truly a piece that helps with the kids and with the birth parents and with the adoptive parents to kind of like, you're a joint. Doesn't mean that the birth mom is coming over for dinner every Sunday. It doesn't. You each story is unique in their own way, right? If some people are more involved than others, but to have that relationship.
And that's like any relationship, it changes over time, and people's situations in life, they ebb and flow, and that's so important that you said, like, it doesn't mean like that the biological mother is probably coming to dinner every week.
People think that though.
People think
I didn't realize
it's
that,
co-parenting,
but
and it's not.
It's definitely not. Yeah, it's more like we're gonna go see her, before Christmas once a year, or we're gonna, maybe we'll do something in the summer, and maybe it's not planned at all. Maybe it's just here or there. I think everybody's journey is different. We've learned that, but to try to have that relationship at the end of the day is what's best for the kids.
Yeah,
so I love that you're about that.
And you're showing, the kids how much you love them, right? Because it is awkward in the beginning, because no one teaches you how to have these complex relationships. But we know that's what's best for kids. And I always tell our adoptive parents, like, you're truly giving your child, because through adoption, there are your kids, that gift of, they're not searching for themselves when they're adolescents or later in life. They know their story. They know who they are. They know who looks like them, but then they know who raised them.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. And people build their families in different ways, but at the end of the day, to be able to build your family means that you're helping the kids and the people that are going to take care of us when we're older. So I think that's important in whichever way that it's done and how people do it. So let's talk about who needs adoption. I know there's different buckets. I know for me and my wife, I'll just put out there, like, it was fertility things, right? So, but what are other stories that you see out there?
Yeah, there's so many different stories. I don't think there's really like a cookie cutter. This is the type of person that adopts. So we have what we call our domestic program. So it's families who are choosing to be matched through Hopeful Beginnings. And so some of our families, they've gone through fertility issues. It's a big driver these days because infertility is such a hard process. I went through IVF twice myself with my husband, and you can go through so many cycles, and it's hard on your body, and
your mind,
sometimes it's just not successful. And a lot of families say, okay, let's look to adoption then to be parents. Other families, they might come to us because of other medical issues. We have women who unfortunately just because of things when they were younger, they can't have children. And, they've always known that adoption was going to be their road. And then we also work with same-sex couples who, same-sex couples can sometimes choose surrogacy, but sometimes adoption just feels like the right way to form their family.
Yeah, beautiful. And how many families, do you know how many families you've helped over?
Oh my God, that's a hard question. This year, no.
Yeah.
We usually do about 4 or 5 adoptions a year. We're a smaller agency, and adoption it's such a hard, loving choice, and we know it's not for everyone, right? But seeing those 4 or 5 families we've helped, like, it's changed their trajectory forever. So we're really proud of the work we do. And if you come to our office, I always like to show, we have a wall with all like the Christmas cards and pictures we get over the years. So come visit us and see it.
Well, you're like the ultimate connector right there with it's a beautiful thing. So, okay. So, counseling, adoption services, what other types of services are available with?
Yeah. And then we have a really unique service. We do case management for local families, and these families, they might not need counseling. They don't need adoption services, but they're usually just low income. And with the way the economy is right now and inflation, they just need help meeting their basic needs. So that program is where they get support once a week. They'll get connected to other local resources like food pantries or educational resources like Harper College. And then we also offer supplemental baby essentials. So we call it our baby closet, but it's actually the biggest room in our office where we have diapers, we have clothing, we have wipes, like all the things little ones need. And then those families can come pick it up, and it's a little burden taken off of their monthly bills.
And diapers are expensive.
Diapers are hugely expensive. Yes. Yeah. And the boxes are smaller these days. So we try and make sure every family in our program, and we have about 130 families we help support right now, gets about a week worth of diapers. So hopefully it helps them, meet a bill that they wouldn't be able to pay if they had to pay for those diapers.
Yeah. Well, I love that you offer that service. Then probably one of the reasons we've connected as well is you're a connector at the end of the day. So, and you're connected with other nonprofits, and I call them movers and shakers, the boots on the ground, and helping to make our communities a better place. Like, connected with nonprofits.
Absolutely.
So somebody calls you, if you can't serve them, what's your move?
Yeah. If we can't serve someone, or, they're calling us for a different type of counseling, we never just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't help you." We say, "I'm sorry, let's see who else we know." And also for our enrolled clients, we know there's just so much that a family needs to get through life, honestly. We want to connect them to as many supports as possible. So it's kind of our job to know what other help is available in the community, whether it be, they have an aging parent and they need to get connected to the senior center, or they need housing supports and they need to get connected to Family Forward. We like to know our resources, because if families can't meet those basic needs, we can't expect them to go on and care for their own mental health, right?
That's great to know, Natalie. I love how connected you are. I think that's important for us. In that 6 degrees of separation, we can help make our communities stronger. So for you to have those moves, I think is a beautiful thing. If somebody's within your services, within Hopeful Beginnings, what does that program and timeline look like?
Yeah. So what I like to say, and it's kind of an odd thing to say, but what I love about postpartum depression, for example, is that people get better. Like, they don't come to Hopeful Beginnings and stay in our services. So an average client who's in our counseling program is with us for about a year. And then their particular therapist or social worker will kind of work with them and see, what is this going to look like moving forward? Do they need like generalized therapy for like their own things that they went through as a child or other traumas? Or do they just need to increase like their social supports, right? Parenting is really hard. And so a lot of our clients just need help finding their people, their clan, of whether it be the moms that can meet them at the library, or the moms who like to go swimming or play baseball or whatever their thing is. It's all about working with those individual clients and making sure that after they're feeling recovered from their depression or they've learned those skills, that they are able to flourish without us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does. Can we talk a little bit more about postpartum a little bit? Like,
Sure.
that we've had other podcasts within the studio, not on our podcast, to talk about postpartum. And I didn't know kind of how common it is and how it kind of hits everybody different.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about like what are some signs that maybe a woman could experience that she would know that maybe she wants to give you guys a call?
Yeah. So postpartum depression looks different for everyone, right? And it's really common, during pregnancy and in that like first couple weeks after a woman gives birth, just to feel a lot of hormones, a lot of emotion. There might be some crying. But when we're kind of that red flag, or when a woman kind of knows that this might be more postpartum depression than what they call baby blues, is if they're not sleeping. And that's more not just because baby's waking them up, they're not sleeping because they have racing thoughts and they're worried. I always kind of say, it's normal, especially when you have your first baby, you always check to see if they're breathing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's normal, but it's not normal to not sleep because you're so concerned baby's going to stop breathing that you can't get out of that hypervigilant mode. Also that, eating or overeating or just not taking care of yourself, those are the biggest signs. We also talk a lot about intrusive thoughts. And that means those thoughts that kind of pop into your head that are not yourself, that are not your own voice. That's when, a woman can kind of say, I think I need some help with this. And also a lot of people don't know, but dads can experience postpartum depression as well, because it's, the hormone piece of giving birth isn't there, but it's also such that huge shift in identity where, now you have this little 7, 8, 9-pound baby that you're entirely responsible for. And that's a really powerful thing for men and women. So we do offer counseling to men who are experiencing just like, that anxiety of being now a father. I think that's really important to put out there too.
All right, so I have a question here, just kind of coming from a mom's perspective. So if a mom is pregnant and she doesn't want to be with the spouse for whatever reason, that it could be, what are some options for her?
Yeah, so that's unfortunately, life happens, right? And a lot of couples, that start a pregnancy together, they just might not be able to stay together for many, many reasons. So, really what we try and look for is it a road where mom can travel as co-parenting with that partner, or is it a road that we need to kind of look at domestic violence and those kind of resources? So for co-parenting, a lot of what our social workers might work on is, boundaries. Like, how do you set up an environment where you can talk about that child and what's best for that child while kind of creating your separate lives. And we see that it's a lot with our teen clients, right? Some of our teen clients, you get pregnant at 16 and you grow and you might grow apart from your partner, but you still have a little baby that ties you together. So just learning how to have conversations that are strictly about the child is really, really helpful for a lot of, people going through that situation. And then, as far as if it's not a healthy relationship, we do work a lot with our domestic violence shelters, and we work a lot with, just having women know how to stay safe, or, men know how to stay safe, but mostly moms how to stay safe, safety planning, what are their local resources. If we talk about adoption though, and, dads and dads' rights, dads definitely have rights in a pregnancy. So once a father is identified, they have to kind of also be on board with that adoption plan.
Yeah, there's a whole process around
Whole
that.
process, yes.
The dads get to go through too. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good to know. And for adoption, everybody's got their stories are different, right?
Yeah.
But for looking from the birth mom's perspective, how do you, what are your stories and what do you How do they know that adoption is the right way
Yeah,
for them? Yeah.
it's so interesting to watch different women on their journeys. So we like to say ideally like a woman would find us during her pregnancy, right? Because then our staff have more time to kind of work on mom on, what are their hopes and dreams for their child? Like what kind of family are they interested in placing their child with? And I think when it's that situation, it all comes from a place of deep self-reflection on just, I love this baby, but I can't right now. I can't parent. I can't do the things that I want to do with this child, whether it's because I'm too young, I'm just not in that place in my life. We've also had other situations like when we will get a call when mom gives birth, just looks at baby and she just knows it's the best thing for the child. And I don't know how to explain that, but it's such a beautiful moment because it's such a place of love, to say, I love this baby and I want better than I can give right now.
It's so selfless.
It
like,
is.
You think of that from being on the adoptive parent side and looking at that from like our birth mom, we built a relationship over the years. Like, talk about selfless, like to have that trust and to have that faith, like, oh, somebody could give this kid a better life than I can at this moment in time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good to know. What are some stories that you have around adoption or anything that you're willing to share?
Yeah. So we did a really powerful adoption, I would say about 2 years ago, where mom was very young. She really, really loved her baby. And she worked with us actually probably for about half of her pregnancy. And she just knew that her family environment that she was living with wasn't what she wanted for her child. And it was so just neat to see how adoptive family and that very young mom bonded and how they're using now like social media to stay connected and like FaceTime. I think it's just one of the coolest things I've seen because it's not co-parenting, but it's they're both people in very different places in their life just coming together for that little kid. And then we also have, sadder adoptive stories. We had one recently where mom she placed baby, probably the child's in their teens now. So quite a while ago, and was just not in a good place in life, had some substance abuse struggles, but her mom, grandma, really wanted to be in that child's life, and that adoptive family allowed that. And they gave that child and that grandmother that gift of that relationship. And it was just so cool to see because over the years, our social workers kind of helped facilitate those visits. Grandmother recently passed away, but I just think, how beautiful that grandchild knows, even though their biological mother wasn't in a great place, the grandma loved me. And I had 2 grandmas or 3 grandmas in that situation. So many different stories.
Well, you're talking about like building families and human life. So I could probably keep here all day.
Yeah, and it gets messy. It gets super messy, and it's not always like butterflies and hearts flying around. There's some real strong emotions. But I will say most families, they're always thinking about what's best for the child at the center of everything. And that's what Hopeful Beginnings is there for, right? To make sure we're able to hold all the strong feelings, but let's keep taking it back to the kid because that's what we're there for.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and those types of services help make a better tomorrow.
Right.
I think helping the families of today so that they can help the kids of tomorrow, or have services to get with the family and connect with the family that could give them a good life. I think that's so important as we continue to evolve. Like, we got to take care of the youth. Like, robots are going to come for us all if we don't give these kids good values and morals. So I love what Hopeful Beginnings stands for. I think that there's building a family and going through life is maybe one of the toughest things to be able to do at times, but also one of the most rewarding things to be able to do. So to be able to have the services that you all have and the tools to be able to connect people in the community, with their family, or to be able to build their family, I think it is really an awesome thing. Where can people find and learn more about Hopeful Beginnings if they're interested?
Yeah, so we have our website, but what we would really love people is to come follow us on social media. So you can look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Hopeful Beginnings of St. Mary's. And we always put our stories out there, baby pictures, but you can start to learn more about the work we do on a daily basis.
All right, my friends, thanks so much for watching today's Love Local Chicagoland podcast. Our goal is to help connect the community and to share by sharing stories of the things that are happening within our community through talking to nonprofits and other humans with good stories. I look forward to the future of this show. My friends, if you're looking to build your family, or if you need support in making sure that your family is as strong as they can be, make sure to reach out to Hopeful Beginnings. Go follow them on social media. They're doing good things, and they're from everybody that we've met, like they all the women that work there truly care about helping the family. So it's okay. Sometimes you got to put in work, and sometimes you got to learn and grow. Don't look at that in a bad way. Look at it as in, like, if I could do this, I could give my child a better tomorrow. Go follow Hopeful Beginnings on social media, and we look forward to the next Love Local Chicagoland podcast. Make sure to follow and subscribe where you see fit. Peace out, guys.